So I know that the answer is 18. So now that I have my information, box 1 has 20, box 2 has 18. Now I'm ready to go down and answer my questions or choose the two that are true. Box 1 holds 20 cupcakes because, now this says 5 times 4 equals 20. Now that is true, even though my equation says 4 times 5, correct? It's commutative property where these two numbers are just switched. Nothing else has changed. It's the same. So this is definitely a possible choice because that is true. It has 20 inside. Both boxes hold the same amount of cupcakes because 5 times 4 is the same, equal to 3 times 6. 20 and 18, are those the same? No, they are not the same. This definitely is not true. Box 1 is holding fewer cupcakes because 5 times 4 is less than 3 times 6. Well, let's write that out. So you have 20 and 18. Is 20 greater than or less than 18? 20 is greater than. It is the larger number, therefore it is going to look like this. 20 is greater than 18. It is not less than. It is not fewer than. So that is not true. All right, box 2 holds fewer cupcakes because 18 is less than 20. 3 times 6 is less than 5 times 4. Is that true? Yes, yes it is. And we had already determined that box 1 is holding 20 cupcakes because 5 times 4 equals 20 is true. So there we have worked our two equations, or we have chose our two statements that are true. Now, this was easier because we did this up here. So again, I understand online it's a little harder because you do not have the ability to always write on the test. It's not in front of you, but you can get a piece of paper and draw it out and work it do it the same way, okay? All right, so let's continue on. Oh, true and false. I like true and false because you're just determining whether or not the information that that's being given to you is true. So we're going to just determine if each statement is true or false. If it's true, we're going to circle A, B if it's false. So if we look at this immediately, the problems are being already provided with you with some type of equation or picture, model. So we just need to determine what strategy we can use to help us determine if it's correct or not. So if I look at this, I have equal groups. I know after equal groups, I wanted to use repeated addition. And how I do that is I look within each group and write the amount that is inside. So I see 4 apples, 4 apples, and 4 apples. Now, if I look at that, that means I just wrote 4 3 times. So that would say 4 times 3. Now, if I look at this equation that it's saying that this picture is equal to 3 times 3, is this the same? Is that true? No. There are 3 groups, but there are not 3 in each group. There are 4 in each group. So that is false. Now, again, you're being given a model. I see an array. I remember that the first step that I'm going to do when I see an array or an area model is I'm going to number. So I'm numbering my rows. I number my columns. And then I write an equation to match. I have 4 rows times 6 columns. That means 4 groups with 6 in each group. And if I look over here, it's saying that this array is matching this equation, 4 times 6. Is that what we wrote up here? Yes, it is, so that is true. All right, now, next one. 5 times 4 equals 9, okay? So in order for me to determine if this is true, I'm going to first go, well, first of all, 5 plus 4 equals 9, not 5 times 4. So that already sounds like, no, that's not true, but let's draw a picture just to make sure. So over here to the side, I'm going to draw an array this time. So to draw an array to try to help me determine if this is true or not, it's going to be 5 rows. And what I like to do when I do an array, I just draw 5 lines for my 5 rows. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, there are 4 in each group, so there needs to be 4 on each line. And when I draw these, I'm going to make sure that the ones that I draw underneath line up so that then I have columns. So as you can see, I'm not in a hurry. I'm taking my time and I'm making sure that my columns match up. And then to make sure that I drew it correctly, I'm going to then follow my steps of numbering my rows. So there are my 5 rows. And then number my columns. There are my 4 columns. So there is my 5 times 4. Now, I know that 5 rows times 4, and looking at this, is 20. It is not 9. And I can look at the picture to realize that there are more than 9 X's there. So that is false. Okay. The next one is an associative property problem. And I know that because I see these parentheses. Anytime I see parentheses and I notice that, well, on this one I need to determine if this associative property of multiplication is being used correctly, I'm going to go ahead and look inside the parentheses because that's the first set of factors that I'm going to multiply. So 2 times 4 equals 8. So the new equation would be 3 times 8. And if I look over here to the other side, is that what is written over here? Yes, it is. So this is true. I don't need to solve any further. That's all I needed to determine. Now, number 9. 0 times 3 equals 0. Oh my goodness. This is 0 property of multiplication. And I know that any number times 0 is 0, not itself. So that is false. Okay. Next, we have 3 times 4 is equal to 4 times 3. I'm seeing the same numbers, and I'm seeing that they have just been swapped. So I know this is commutative property of multiplication, and that is the correct application of it. So I know that's true. All right, now here's my next favorite one that I wanted to talk about. I'm so excited. I kind of feel the same way about input tables as I do this one. And what this is doing is just testing our knowledge of factors and products when it comes to multiplication. You will have a little multiplication chart provided for you, and here's how this is going to work. All you have to do on your on your study guide and on the test is you're going to simply match the letter to the correct statement, okay? Well, what does that mean, Miss Manues? Well, it just means that we're going to look at these statements and decide which of these need to go in to complete it. So again, we know the product is the answer to a multiplication equation. We know that the factors are the numbers that you're multiplying to get the product. So what it's asking us or telling us is the product of an odd factor, and an odd factor is always blank. So to determine this, we're going to look up here and we're going to pick two odd factors. Now, I know my odd numbers are, I'm going to underline the odd numbers. I know they're 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, okay, based on this multiplication chart. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, okay? So I'm just going to take two odd numbers. Let's use 1 and 3. I'm going to say 1 times 3, and I'm just going to go over and I'm going to circle that product. 1 times 3 is 3. What is 3? Well, 3 is an odd factor. That's an odd number. So I'm going to put that answer right there beside it because I'm going to test this 3 times and I'm to determine whether or not that product is either odd, even, or equal. Okay? Now, let's try 2 more. Let's go with 3 and 5. So if I say 3 and 5, those are both odd factors, I get 15. So an odd factor and another odd factor has given me another odd product. Okay? All right, I want to test this 3 times. Let's go with 3 and 3. So 3 times 3 equals 9. 9 again is another odd factor. So now that I have tested that 3 times, I can now determine that the product of an odd factor and another odd factor is always odd. So I'm going to write A on the line because that was where odd is. And I'm going to mark that off because now that choice has been used. All right, the next statement. The product of an even factor and an odd factor is always blank. Okay, so even numbers, well, let's circle the even numbers. There's our even numbers on both sides, on the rows and the columns. So let's choose an even factor. Let's go with 2. And let's go with an odd factor. Let's go with 5. So let's see, 2. So we've got an even factor and an odd factor. 2 and 5 equal 10. So let's put that answer choice right over here. We've got 10. Okay. And 10 is an even number, right? Even. Now let's look at, let's see. We've got to do another even and an odd. Let's go with an even 4 and an odd 3. Okay. So 4 times 3 is 12. Well, that's an even number. Okay. Let's try another one. Let's go with, we have to do another even factor and an odd factor. Let's do 6, that's an even factor, and let's do 3, that's an odd factor. So if I go down and across, 6 times 3 is 18. So I'm going to put that over there. So 6 times 3's product is 18. So 10, 12, and 18, those are all even numbers. So if I look up here, I've got B says even. I tested that 3 times. So that must be the correct answer choice. All right, we have one more to go. So the product of an even factor and another even factor is always blank. So if I look at that and I take an even and an even, 2 is even, 2 is even, and it gives me 4. Okay. Now, 4. If I think about 4, I know that 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? So if I write that out, I know that this and this are equal. Do you see what I'm saying? They're equal. So let's try again and see if 2 more even factors give us an equal product. Let's go with 4 and 8. 4 times 8 equals 32. So I know that, let me see if I can do, let's see. So I know that 4 times 8, that is 32. And it is equal to, if we do repeated addition, we're going to write 8. Let's see, we're going to write 4 8 times. So we've got 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 plus 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 4 equals 32. That is equal. Okay, we've tested it twice. Let's do it one more time. Like, let's see. Let's try 2 times 4. 2 and 4 are both even. 2 times 4 equals 8. So 2 times 4, that's 8. And then we're going to write 2 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So 8 is equal to 8. So the product of an even factor and another even factor is always equal. Okay, we see how we did that? Practice this one at home. Hopefully I can upload a multiplication chart for y'all so that maybe y'all can print that off and practice this right here to test yourself to kind of see. But that's basically it. The product of an odd factor and an odd factor is always odd. The product of an even factor and an odd factor is always even. The product of an even factor and another even factor is always equal. Okay. All right, this is going to be the last sheet of our study guide. And of course, you're going to be seeing this study guide on Monday. Okay, guys? You're going to see this on Monday. Now, number 14, enter your answer in the box. 3 times 4 equals blank. So here's the little trick I want to show you with multiples. This problem right here is called multiplying by tens. And this is the trick. Cover the 0 up, and then you can look to determine what is 3 times 4. Well, 3 times 4, I know quickly, is 12. So I'm going to write that in my box. And I had that 0 covered up because I want you to look at this part of the problem first. Once you determine this and write your answer, all you have to do now is add your 0. That is the easiest trick I can show you, along with like the taking the 1 away from a subtraction equation that has zeros at the top. This is another one that is super easy, where you just cover up that 0, determine what the product is of these two numbers, you write the answer, and then you uncover your 0 and you add it over to the end of the number. That is your answer. Just like that. You don't have to draw out a whole lot of pictures. You don't have to do anything else. It's a quick and easy trick, okay? All right, now, this is where we have to really be putting all of our strategies into place, okay? Read carefully to solve each problem. Complete part A, B, and C. 15. Hank drew the array below, okay? This is the array that Hank drew. I see an array. I know that means I need to immediately label my rows and columns, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to label my columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that I have my rows and columns labeled, I can use this information to write my multiplication equation because it hasn't asked me to solve yet, right? It says, part A, write a multiplication equation for Hank's array. So I'm going to say 4 is my first number because that's how many rows I numbered. My second one is going to be the columns that I numbered, which is 6. Then I'm going to look and think, what is 4 times 6? Well, if I look, I've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. I just counted by 4s. There's my answer. Now, draw another array using the same factors as the same product. So what that means is now I'm going to use my commutative property and I'm going to flip them. So instead of there being 4 rows, there needs to be 6 rows. So I'm going to draw 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's going to be 4 on each row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, I'm going to line it up. I'm going to make sure that my X's in each row line up so that you can see the columns. I'm not going in a hurry, taking my time. Now, do you see how they are different? This one is going across and this one is going up and down. That also indicates to me that it is correct. But just to make sure, I am again going to follow my steps and number my rows just to make sure. And then I'm going to number my columns so that now I can write this equation where I have 6 rows and 4 columns, which provides me with the same answer. Okay? All right, guys, I really hope that that helps. This video will be available all week for you to go back and look, especially before you do the study guide and especially before you take the test. I want you to make sure you're looking at all that information. It'll be 2 videos, and if you have any other questions, just let me know. Okay? Bye, guys. Good luck.